Hi, I'm Allen Furmanski with the Citrix product marketing team, and today I'm joined with James Hsu from Citrix Product Management. Hi, James.
Hi, Alan.
We're going to be talking about audio, adaptive audio, and more specifically use cases around unified communications, which is very important, especially in the pandemic and post-pandemic climate. So tell us, James, where have we come with unified communications and where are we at?
Yeah, unified communication is a very popular subject. Like in the past couple of months, a couple of years actually. We have in general there's three categories of unified communication software that we support in terms of optimization, right? Um, so the first category is basically browser-based real-time communication software, right? So a lot of these meeting apps they're running inside a browser, and they can deliver within the browser itself. So traditionally, you'll be rendering the browser inside the virtual desktop. So in that case, you'll be redirecting our webcam, using our webcam redirections, plus audio redirections, and then all the rendering of the video is actually done inside the HDX, right? So inside the virtual desktop. And that tend to be very intensive in terms of resource utilization. So it affects the scalability for the customer as well. So, a lot of times, customer might say, oh, okay, first user use great, and then starting from second user and third user, all the performance starting to deteriorate, right?
Multi-session hosts.
Yeah, exactly. So to address that, we do have a solution called browser content redirection. So if the application that we're dealing with, it's a single page web app, web-based communication applications, you can actually deliver that through our browser content redirection solutions, which will redirect the entire browser content to the endpoint. And from the user perspective, it still remain visually looks like directly rendered inside a virtual desktop. Okay.
Right.
So with that technology, we can kind of offload those media processing tasks to the endpoint and not consuming all the resources inside the virtual desktop where you want to save it for your applications.
Right, and that's been a prime use case for YouTube, right? I mean, users want to watch YouTube videos, hopefully for work and educational purposes.
Yeah.
And now it's seamlessly delivered through a browser, best possible experience, right? And scalability on the back end.
Yeah, and then that from the YouTube, you can also extend to some of the meeting app as well.
Meeting apps as well,
Yeah.
naturally.
Yeah. So the second one is a little bit more advanced. Is leveraging an open standard called WebRTC, right? And this technology is taking off, very rapidly in the industry. So a lot of, now the new generation of real-time communication software is based on WebRTC as a standard. So what we have done is that we pre-bake the actual engine, the media engine, inside our CWA client, right? So that component is already there on the client side, and then we provide a solution to kind of remote control that WebRTC engine on the client end. Okay, and one of the prime example of the application that use that solution today is Microsoft Teams. So the Teams optimization is actually built on top of that solution, and we're actually taking that solution to open it up to ISV as well. So today we have a unified communication SDKs that is open for ISV vendor who want to sign up to our Citrix Ready program, and they can gain access to this private SDK and collaborate with us, build their optimization solution based on what we already provided inside our CWA client and also our VDA.
Oh, that's great to hear.
Yeah.
And I know in the case of Teams and Microsoft Unified Communication Solutions, we've been collaborating with them for the better part of a decade, right? Microsoft Link and Skype for Business, and now Teams and these more modern APIs and standards.
Yeah, yeah. So we're opening it up also to an ecosystem. So it's not in the future, a very near future, that we're going to see a lot of vendors, partners. So right now is in the works that they're still developing. So once they have completed, I believe that this year we're going to see a lot of new ISVs that's using these SDK and providing our customer a very native application experience inside virtual desktop, right? Instead of launching another web page outside or something like that. Those are very clumsy, I guess, for the
Sure.
user to use. Yeah.
Yeah, clumsy, potentially less secure, and all the other management challenges that go along with it.
Right, right. And then the third one is one of the some of the challenges that some vendors not using the standard the open standard that is already out there. They have their own proprietary audio codec or video codecs and things like that. And these vendors they will leverage another set of SDK, what we call the virtual channel SDK, right? And they will build their own media engine, just like we bundle WebRTC in our engine inside our CWA client. They actually build a plugin to our CWA client. So when they do that, they can optimize their calls and applications. And these vendors have tremendous success in the industry, right? So company like WebEx and also Zoom, right? Even the older Microsoft's tool like a Skype for Business optimization pack that Citrix wrote is in that model as well, right? And also Via and all these communication software vendors that have their own codec and they have their own media engines. They will run as a plugin to our CWA client. So those are the optimized path, right? But today our focus really is looking at, okay, well, what if I'm in a situation that my vendor of choice doesn't have these optimization options?
Right, maybe it's not supported, or perhaps even they're working on a device or endpoint that isn't supported.
Yeah. So so in those cases, we will leverage something called the audio redirection, right? So this is the topic of today is really getting to our what are we doing for those customers who cannot take advantage of all these redirections, right? And that comes to our next topic today.
Yeah. Perfect. So adaptive audio, I love the notion of being adaptive and changing. And audio is just so critical, right? Whether you're doing unified communications or video. And so tell us, what exactly is adaptive audio? What work have we done here?
Yeah, adaptive audio is a new term that we introduced, the second half of 2021, right? And it's the initial concept of adaptive audio is that we want the audio to adjust to the network condition that the customer is running into, and also adjust to the use cases that they run into. And we don't want to do like a very generic, a bit rate. For everything that you set up.
Sure.
One of the things that we learned from the past is that we have a very long-running audio delivery solution. As early as our first generation of WinFrame and MetaFrame. Right. We've been delivering audio in those platforms as well.
Long time.
Right? Long time. So a lot of legacy and history go around it, and then there's a lot of solution that's built down throughout those generations, right? So in general, we have like basically two audio quality codec, right? So we have the sort of a medium, low quality audio codec, and then we have a higher fidelity, a CD quality audio codec in our product in the past. And then customer had to really configure it, right? Like the administrator had to say, oh, I want it to be high quality because all these guys are all just listening to music.
Right.
Great.
Why wouldn't you want high quality, right?
Yeah,
high quality all the time, every time.
Yeah, but then what happened is some of these high quality stuff is not really geared towards real-time communications.
Right.
So then we have another codec called the SpeedX codec that that legacy codec in there as well. That's geared more towards communications.
Right.
Right. And there are lower bit rates, and then but they use less bandwidth and so on and so forth. But to be honest with you, today in our climate, like everybody has like high speed connections, and the connection speed is not really a big challenge anymore, right? So these codecs starting to get a little bit obsolete, And then the other downside is that the administrator has to manually choose, what codec they're going to be delivering to those users. Now, that being said, right, so going forward, we want our customer to have like the best user experience. So we gave them only one codec.
Right.
Called adaptive audio. This is going to be the default codec for the future LTSR, customer as well. So when they choose that codec, it will be able to adjust based on the condition and also the application type in the future. That we'll continue to want to innovate in that area so that they can change the codec delivery, audio quality delivery based on the use cases.
Right.
Yeah. And the beauty of it is that there's not much of a configuration that administrator need to do. We take away all this guesswork. We bake that into our our engine of HDX, and we will decide for the users based on the case that you're in. Yeah. So that's in general what we're trying to do, right? And the other thing I want to mention is that because it's a default codec, right? It's going to come out of the box in the future release, right? You don't need to do any adjustment. However, we do allow fallback, right? In the case where your client devices is using older client, for example, right? That doesn't support this new adaptive audio codec because it needs a decoding, right? So that engine needs to be also on the client side. Yeah. So the encoder decoder need to be on client side as well, and we basically negotiate at the beginning, and we will figure out whether your client can support it. If they cannot, then we fall back to the legacy, audio codec method that your client can support. So we'll continue to just help customer along the way migrate to this new codec out of the box, as long as they upgrade the client to the later release, right? So 2112 or higher. It will be recommended as the new adaptive audio codec clients for Windows, Mac, and Linux at this time, right? We're filming right now, and we are also adding all these other, second-tier clients into those mix as well. So like Android, iOS, and we're gonna continue to support these.
That's perfect. Just what you're describing there, James, to me, I draw a lot of similarities to our EDT or Enlightened Data Transport. And when we released that, right, and the whole notion of being adaptive primarily for graphics and how we took this phased approach to make it available, and now, of course, the default, right, in the product.
Yeah, and also actually talking about EDT, that's also a very important subject, right? So adaptive audio, like we support obviously the transport, the fashion of EDT, all the new EDT over UDP and EDT over TCP, all these transport options, right? On top of that, we also port back our UDP audio support. So a lot of customers who are in the contact center business, right? They're probably familiar with this thing called the UDP audio, okay? Right. And UDP audio, I want to describe this because a lot of customers really don't understand it. It has a very tight, use and integration use cases for especially contact center, like voice communications. Okay, it's a codec that we transport that we developed a long time ago, and the idea here is we take the audio away from the actual ICA virtual channel, right, and then we deliver them intentionally in the UDP on its own standalone stream, right? Okay, with that, not only will we deliver the audio in UDP, one special characteristic in that UDP audio delivery is that we can tolerate packet loss. Right. Okay, so that way our audio just continues to stream through, right? It doesn't get retransmitted. So if you drop something in the way, you're just basically going to miss a few words.
Right. Forget it and then move on.
Yeah, and move on, right? So that's a very unique characteristic for our audio delivery. Is very useful. So for real-time communication software, if you really don't have any optimization options, right? And you need to deliver that through a virtual desktop and running application running inside a virtual desktop. For voice call, we can really get this done using our UDP audio. Plus adaptive audio together, it will give you the best results.
Winning combination. And of course, UDP, the whole notion of doing QoS and working through gateway and really understanding the whole end-to-end path, right, of how the connection takes place.
Right. And then UDP audio, if you want to encrypt them, right, you have to go through our Citrix, the Citrix gateway
great
component. And the DTLS will be the option to encrypt these technology as well. Yeah. So in general, in the wrap up, is basically, adaptive audio is going to be our, future codec for, audio redirection, right? It can support, the pretty much the wide range of audio use cases, delivering at a DVD quality audio, so very high, if you put it in the simple term, right? Right. It's DVD quality audio. Majority of, the audio recording today is mostly CD quality, like that's what we're hearing. Most of the cases in some of the streaming media as well, they're just using CD quality audio. But we were able to deliver up to DVD quality audio in there. And then on top of that is we can support all the transports that currently Citrix offer. Okay, and we're looking at also some other enhancement in the future as well to add other functionalities into adaptive audio. But that's basically going to be our future of all the audio delivery solution. We'll be going through that. Now, talking about this, maybe you want to know like what the use cases are, right?
Sure.
So other than just these real-time communication software that we know that's very critical for business, right? We're also seeing a new patch of business that's coming up in our virtualized environment. Is that because of everybody working from home, we start seeing a lot of multimedia studios
Sure.
and starting to spin up this concept of virtual collaborations. You got editors running in different countries, or and the content creators in a different country, and they collaborate.
Yeah, recording studios, audio engineers.
And as you know, those video files are humongous, right? So if you're talking about a full movie, for example, it's gonna be big, and you're not gonna truck it through internet and download it on your PC and edit it and send it back.
Yeah.
For somebody else to look at it.
Let's not try to do that.
Yeah, it's just not very practical. So the workaround and the solution that we're seeing now is a lot of studios now starting to putting files and data in the public storage, cloud infrastructure, and collaborate and meeting each other in the cloud infrastructure, right? And then we start seeing also these high fidelity audio use cases that are starting to crop up as well, because they're gonna put a video on. Obviously, you cannot deliver a video without sound, right?
Sure.
So they're starting audio editing, music editing, creating these content, and they can work from anywhere. So audio delivery actually is starting to grow into those segments of the business as well. So not just our traditional CD quality audio probably is not enough for these people who's editing videos for DVD or for even Blu-ray, productions. So we need to also step up in our delivery to meet those requirements as well.
That's awesome. Those are some really exciting new use cases, and I'm thinking about some of the work that we did in the aerospace industry over a decade ago, right, with our HDX 3D Pro, and how we unlock those capabilities of remote collaboration on really large design files, right? CAD, CAM, applications like CATIA, and now we're doing it for audio engineers, producers, and this is pretty exciting.
Yeah, and I have to say, right now we're bringing all these technology up, and then I'm excited to see our next LTSR starting to become a standard for our customers in the future. Yeah,
absolutely. Wow. So we've covered quite a bit, James. What do you say we go into a little demo and give people a feel for adaptive audio and what it's able to do?
Yeah, so let's do that with our very small thin client devices, and let's see how this little box can do.
Let's do it.
Let's do that.
Great.
Yeah.
All right, James. So here for the demo, I see you're working with what looks like a thin client. Tell us about your hardware.
Yeah, this thin client is a very small devices that runs, I think, with Celeron or ATOM processor, right? It's a very generic kind of box. And the idea of these devices are basically it contains no personal information, right? So very common use is to see these devices show up in public access area, and also in a lot of call center or contact center environment. And we start seeing some of the vendors starting to ship these devices to also work from home users as well, because they're technically very low maintenance. And the price of these products is relatively cheap. So it's really a simple devices. And one of the basically showcase today is that with our adaptive audio, it doesn't require a lot of resources on the endpoint to process all these high quality audio delivery. So we're going to use this thin client as a way to demonstrate it, and at the same time, we're going to be delivering them using our new audio codec, and also running them on Wi-Fi. This is no wire here, with our UDP transport as well. Okay.
Awesome. That sounds great. So let's go ahead and get started.
Right. Let's dive into this. So what I have here in this desktop, it's a very simple, Windows 10 virtual machine. Virtual desktop running our latest 2112 release of VDA, okay? And the actual workspace app that's running here is also 2112 as well, okay? So we're gonna make a connection. And this virtual desktop right now is set to not use the adaptive audio. So we want to show a little contrast, so you see the differences between with adaptive audio versus without adaptive audio. Yeah.
Okay, so this is the baseline audio that we've literally had for years.
Right.
Available.
Right. So this is a very basic audio delivery geared towards speech audio delivery, and it's encoded at delivered at the bit rate of only 16 kilohertz, 16 kilobits. Sorry. Yeah. So it's very low in terms of the fidelity of the audio. And what we have here is we have a high fidelity sample file. Okay, that is basically running at 48 kilohertz. Okay. And then also 16-bit. So it's very high quality encoding. High quality. Yeah, high quality audio encoding. So we're gonna start with playing the audio from the beginning, and we're gonna let you hear a little bit. Now, one thing I do want to mention is that because we're recording this using the standard microphone and the devices, you might not hear the actual differences. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do a little bit cinema magic, right? And then put the wavetable on top so that you guys will see what it looks like visually in terms of the content that is delivered.
Great point, James. So we would recommend that for those watching and listening, if you have good quality speakers or good quality headphones, but to your point, James, yes, it may or may not fully translate through. So
yeah. From the speakers that you have.
I'm not a witch.
Now,
so
we just play a little bit of this video audio files, and now you guys hear the first version of it, which is using our the classic codec of SPX, and running at the 16 kilobits bit rates. And we are going to make some changes now. So what I'm doing here is basically changing the actual audio codec by enabling the adaptive audio. Okay. Now by default, this is already enabled as a default setting.
Right.
Okay. I'm just doing this for demonstration purposes. To show you first of all adaptive audio disable what it looks like, but now we just turn it back on. So when I reconnect to the session, so this is the same desktop. Right, we're not changing desktop. The CPU assignment,
same desktop,
it's all the
session.
same. Yeah, same session. So it's all the same, and we're connecting back. Right. And let's just refresh the HDX monitor. All right. So now you can see the audio codec that it's using. It's adaptive now, right? And then, as you can see, the bit rate is so much higher, right? It's 192 kilobits encoding. So, in terms of fidelity, it's going to be able to deliver much more, okay, than what we see previously. So we're going to go back.
Yeah, let's take a listen to it.
Yeah, let's listen to this music and see what it sounds like.
I just work from.
All right. So there you have it. This is adaptive audio, right? Running over audio channel on UDP delivery, right? Or UDP transport. So you can tolerate a little bit of packet loss along the way as well. So if we are in the sort of a real-time communication software use cases, we're able to actually address some of these packet loss conditions that we're experiencing in the public internet. Right.
Fantastic. So adaptive audio, we encourage our customers to take advantage of it. Let us know what you think, and really appreciate that demo, James.
Thank you.